No sound, young man.
No sound again? Do we have
There
it?
we go. We've got
I
it.
pressed the button. Again. I'm Tyler from the Unfiltered Historian. Next to me always is Darren from.
The American Civil War and UK history and the Unfiltered Historian.
That's right. And you'll notice that we're now finally on both platforms live at the same time, so we don't have to
Yeah.
go do this tedious resharing stuff.
No.
Not that it's a problem. We like
No,
doing it.
but we appreciate it if other people share, obviously.
Absolutely.
You know?
So if you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, share, all that fun jazz. If you're on Facebook, just simply share, like, comment, and engage. And
Definitely.
welcome to another episode of the Unfiltered Conversations. This is where we come live. We talk about, well, whatever.
Oh, sorry, Nick.
What do you say?
He said the git who didn't get me my Mountain Dew. Well,
did you need some Mountain Dew? He wanted you to get some Mountain Dew for when you were
the
down
thing
here.
is that the stuff you get in the UK is not the same. It's horrible.
Is it?
No, yeah, it's not nice.
Mountain Dew is like a delicacy here. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
They pump it into their veins, Nick.
We do. Every now and again, we have clinics for that too. You know?
We walk the battlefield for 8 hours, and then we go to the gas station and buy it.
He said, "Yes, a simple request. I love it." All right, so next time you're down here, we're gonna have to stock up on Mountain Dew for Nick here.
Yeah,
that works. Well, that brings us to really tonight's not carrying a topic at all. We're again just doing one of our normal unfiltered conversations, kind of just catching up. We did a brief video for Christmas. However, I had family show up, and that really kind of cut that short. But that's all right. We all have to spend time with family on Christmas or the holidays and enjoy that. It was nice to at least catch up and be on here for a few minutes and being able to share some thoughts with you guys before we signed off there. But one of the things we used to do a lot on these unfiltered conversations is talk about what we're reading. And boy, does Darren and I have quite a bunch of books that we have to get through.
I've come back with so many. It's unreal. I mean, I haven't actually read anything for a little while, and I'm not actually currently in the middle of
taking a break, if you will.
I'm taking a little break over the new year, but I will be getting into some because I'm going to have to do some research on the Fredericksburg campaign because I've got a real cool guest lined up in the new year.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be along the subject of the Mud March, which happens after the Fredericksburg campaign itself, or after the Battle of Fredericksburg in January. I think it's January the 20th, 1863. So I'm going to have to do some research on that. And the guest I've got coming on is, well, he's one of the godfathers of the Park Service. Would you say that?
Godfather of the Park Service. That's yeah. I
so
think
I'm not going to say any more than that. You have to guess.
Godfather of the Park Service. I mean, now I would initially say Ed Barst, but he's no longer with us, unfortunately.
Well, yeah.
So it can't be him. But
he's the undergraduate of the Godfather of the Godfather. Like he's the one that he's been handed it down to him. You know, the baton. You know.
Yeah, there you go.
And this guy has influenced how many historians from that area? I mean, there's a few. I know there's others. There is others within the same, which are probably on the same level as this guy. You know who I'm talking about. You've worked with them. You know, I mean, they've influenced you.
Tremendously so. Yeah.
In 2015 was it when you went there, Tyler?
15 to 17.
So right. We haven't really got a topic, but now we have. So so let's just shoot away and say, well, tell us about your experience with the Park Service and how did you get into it?
So it's a very interesting story, actually. How I started out becoming an intern for the park, and before I interned or before I even decided to volunteer for the park, I've always had an interest in the Civil War. Wouldn't say studious by any means. I'd read in passing. I was never part of like Civil War Facebook groups. I wasn't always on the battlefield. I wasn't, growing up here, sure, I've had all this within my reach, and I have at every opportunity to go to one of these. But in that point in 2015, I was coming back from living in Richmond, actually, with a friend of mine that I was with at the time, and things didn't really work out, so I came back home, and home being Fredericksburg, and I lived and worked as a dishwasher at Texas Roadhouse, of all places. Which is a nice place to work, don't get me wrong. I had steak, and those buns with the butter were amazing. So like I had plenty of opportunities to, kind of thrive there. It was great, but I wasn't in my element, if you will. And I don't know if at that time I quite knew what my element was. I wasn't very familiar with all of the battlefields. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life.
Did you always have an underlying passion though for the Civil War before? Because you said when you was younger, you used to watch that. What was that?
Civil War Combat.
That's it. Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
and I watched an episode of that when I was there with you about Fredericksburg, and I quite enjoyed it. It's good.
Yeah, and
It's on
that's
YouTube, I
so
believe.
it is on YouTube. It's on if you have Xfinity, you can do that cool where the remote's at. I'm gonna plug Xfinity. I can't believe I'm doing that. You can just press this button and say like what program you want to watch, and it'll
Yeah.
pop it up. That's so cool. I love it. But yes, the Civil War combat I actually had on VHS from my dad. My dad is the reason I got into the Civil War even to begin with. And I gotta give shout out to my grandfather too, because my grandfather definitely helped inspire that love for the Civil War that I have. Just literally by taking me to Antietam and seeing Burnside Bridge for the first time at a very young age. To
That'll
my
do
dad,
it. That'll do it.
absolutely, it's a way to capture you. I didn't even go to Gettysburg first. First place was Antietam, actually Fort Sumter as a very young kid, very very young. First Civil War site I ever stepped foot on was Fort Sumter. But just those little interactions I've had while I was living down there, I was tremendous to helping me get into the Civil War. But I wasn't always, like I said, a student of the war at that point. And at that point, it was more of just an interest, an extreme interest, because I still had books. I had a few bullets from the war, been a few places. But I always knew I wanted to learn more and do something. I just thought it virtually impossible for me to ever even be a historian. Dream job, though, at the time. So it was something I really wanted to do. Well, of course, when you're living a life where you don't know where you quite fit in and you don't know what your future is, or again, like I was referring to, what my element was, you really get to a point where you can hit rock bottom and you can be very lost just in the sense of yourself and what life has for you. And one night, unfortunately, I had one of those, and it was a sleepless night for me, but something really cool came out of that. And I don't know what caused me to even want to search, but I remembered vaguely a comment that was made to me that there is a volunteer program at this park in Fredericksburg and Spotsylvania National Military Park. I was like, that might be something worth checking out. And now I'm making this phone call to the Park Service. I stayed up all night and all morning without sleeping, waiting for 8 o'clock a.m. on the dot to hope that somebody would be in the offices for me to give them a call. And so I made the phone call, and just sheer happenstance, there was a volunteer meeting that weekend. And they didn't have them that frequently. They were doing them once or twice a year at that point. And I just happened to call the week that they're about to do their last one for the year. Okay. And I go to the interpretive training they told me I needed to go to be the volunteer. So, okay, I'm going in not expecting to walk in and see none other than Frank O'Reilly and Greg Mertz standing right in front of me. Now, Frank O'Reilly at that
We're the
time
Godfathers. There we go.
he was
About.
definitely my role model in Civil War. I've read the biggest Civil War book I've ever read up until that point was Winter War on the Rappahannock by Frank. And to see him and Greg in that meeting, just, man, I couldn't speak. I was floored. I was just, these are the people I looked up to, and I'm about to sit through a class with all of these guys. Like, this is incredible. And again, lo and behold, it was beyond perfect. I learned so much from that meeting. I'm connected with so many people because of that. And I began what was in turn an internship, and it lasted quite a while. And man, it was an incredible experience to have that. And to know that I am now studying under people that I have looked up to and found research that they do just beyond incredible. So it was nice to have that story, and it's been nonstop ever since. I was recaptured by the bug, or rebit by the bug, if you will. We always have that theoretical Civil War bug that bites everywhere.
Yeah.
And to have that just in full force, and then being able to live in places like the National Cemetery and the battlefield at Chancellorsville.
Yeah, that's the one that got me. When you showed me that place, I was like, really? And
Every
guys,
day.
this place is in the middle of nowhere in the wilderness.
Yeah, it's
And
literally.
yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's like a wood cabin, but it's pretty cool. I mean, but it must be pretty eerie at night.
Oh, and indeed it was. It wasn't just,
And literally, you could walk to the Stonewall Jackson wounding site from that was in your back garden.
yeah, you could literally
That's
walk,
cool.
and I would walk to work every day. I would just
Mhm.
open the door and just walk on down to work. And I think that was really interesting. So those experiences on top of being able to study, um, honestly, neither.
Neither, no, because we're historians.
No,
You know, we're not
yeah,
on either side.
I didn't fight in
Um,
1865,
I,
1861.
I,
I
I,
live
I
in
reenact.
2021, so
Yeah, I
neither.
reenact Union, but I'm not. I'm right down the middle when it comes to the history. So yeah,
Yeah. Now, family speaking, I have both. So again,
you
neither.
do. Yeah.
Yep. I can't choose.
So,
Don't
so
have any
Nick,
sides to pick.
I don't know if you watched the video that we did at Antietam, but go back and watch it. It's one where we're standing by the guns, and Tyler has got an ancestor that fought for the Confederacy in Parker's Battery,
Hmm.
and you have a very good story. So let's hear the story again for Nick's benefit.
Sure. So my great great grandfather serves with a battery known as Parker's Virginia Battery, or otherwise known as the Boy Battery. They're made up predominantly from Richmond. There's a physician named Dr. William Watts Parker who is commanding and actually, recruiting for this battery. Now, Edward Samuel Duffy, who is my great grandfather, he decided to join with Parker's battery from an existing battery already. He was with Delaware Kemper's battery out of Alexandria, Virginia. And then when he joins the battery, he joins just in time to make it to Second Manassas and will serve at the battlefields of Second Manassas and even into the Antietam battle that takes place on September 17th, 1862. And Duffy is going to be positioned with Parker's battery in that key position to Antietam, right in front of the Dunkard Church, that artillery plateau that we all know so well, especially if you've been to that battlefield in recent years.
Wow, it blew me away standing there. You could
Right.
literally see every position from there.
And
Blew me
he's
away.
in the battle very briefly because that position gets noted to be synonymous with the word artillery hell, or the name artillery hell. There's two places Parker's battery say that are the worst to ever be, and artillery hell at Antietam is the first, and they also call it artillery hell at Gettysburg on the second day, not the third, the second, which is interesting. But on that day at Antietam, Duffy is wounded by a mini ball that is going to pass through his thigh and embed itself in his thigh, and he's going to make his way to Shepherdstown, modern day West Virginia, where he is offered whiskey, declines the whiskey, takes water instead, and has a ball extracted from his thigh without any use of anesthetics. He'll return in time just to serve with Lee and Jackson on the 13th of December at the Battle of Fredericksburg. He'll be running orders between Lee's Hill and Prospect Hill on the southern end of the battlefield. So he's got quite an important job there as well. But his Antietam story is just really cool to follow, to know that somebody was able to move from this battlefield location, get himself to the rear in time to be treated, and then also makes it back to a battle like Fredericksburg, simply just 2 months, 3 months after the Battle of Antietam takes place. And his battery is pictured, or believed to be his battery, there's a picture of the dead surrounding a caisson at Antietam right in front of the Dunkard Church. And that is said to be the members or the makeup of Parker's battery, the ones that were killed and wounded there. All of those were killed, but the dead that made up Parker's battery. And there could be a few others from different batteries, because there was the entirety of Stephen D. Lee's battery there, or his artillery, and Parker's battery just happened to be right in the epicenter of all of that.
Great story.
Yeah,
Totally.
it's an
I mean,
interesting story.
so wasn't it your father and your grandfather that did most of the research for that? Is that correct?
Correct. So my aunt Jackie, which is my father's sister, she's the one that found out that her great grandfather was in the Civil War. Her mother, my grandmother, found the diary that contains all this, and of course her parents took it and were like, "You're too young to be holding this. Is important to the family," and it ends up at the Virginia Historical Society, which is awesome that it's there, but it shouldn't be there. The people that donated it weren't supposed to do that, because it's in the will and testament of the will and testimony were actually staying in our family. So unfortunately, because of her finding it, somebody related to us somewhere down the line decided that it didn't belong there, which again, it's good because so many people can research it now. But for our sake as a family, we're like, well, now we don't have the diary and we can't just go to VHS and be like, look, you have property, you shouldn't, we need it. We can't do that. And again, it is perfectly okay in my mind that it is at VHS. But I also don't want them to be the people that say you can't publish just because it's ours. Technically, it's not stolen property if you really want to get down to it. But we want to use this. I want to be able to transcribe that and get that out for more of a wider public use because it wasn't supposed to be in your library to begin with. Yeah, it was supposed to be in this family and it was supposed to remain in an attic. But my grandmother found it and wanted to give it to wrong people, unfortunately.
Well, hopefully, Tyler, you use your skill that you've been given, and that is obviously writing, and you can hopefully maybe do something along the lines of maybe a blog post or something along them lines. Maybe even a little book.
Yeah.
About it, because it is a quite interesting story, and the fact that he's your ancestor is even more interesting.
And I found too the direct ancestors I have. He's direct. He's great-great-grandfather. That's my dad's great-grandfather. But my dad's grandfather also served in the U.S. Civil War, which is crazy to think about. Like here I am, 26 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
First United States Sharpshooters, Company B, Hiram Berdan. So the famous Berdan sharpshooters.
So they have green uniforms, I understand. Is that correct?
The start of the war, they do. They start molding down to the green tops, blue bottoms as we get to places like Gettysburg and later in the war in '64. Nick Bryant says, so Tyler, when are you coming over to check out our battlefields? Darren and I were just talking about that
very,
this morning,
very
actually.
Soon. Yeah. So I'm part of the Roundtable UK and I'm on the committee. So Tyler will be coming over and chatting to our committee or our table at some point in London. And he'll be taking some interesting places.
I am excited because I wanted to go to England for a very long time.
Bring the Mountain Dew, yeah, no problem.
Bring the Mountain Dew. I'm gonna bring you like 4 2-liters, dude, so that you can just have a good like week supply of Mountain Dew because that's definitely like a week or 2 supply. But ration it. Don't drink it all in one day. I know it's tempting, but don't do it all at once. Now, Darren, what do you plan to read out of your stack? I know we got our books and stuff, but I haven't asked you. What is your first book that you brought back from the Fredericksburg trip that you want to go into first? Like,
I don't know.
So many to choose from.
Too many. I mean, but there is the Brigades of Antietam.
This gem, right?
Which you've got there. I haven't got it. It's on the bookshelf.
That's okay.
But let's talk about the story behind that because it's quite fun.
And I'd like you to say that. Tell us.
Okay, so
you
on the morning that we arrived at Antietam, we go into the. Of course, the first place we go is the bookshop, actually. But we go into the and Tyler's like, "Oh, you need this one, you need that one." I'm like, "I ain't got no money."
You showed him all the books he needed.
Yeah, but anyway, it was awesome. And then anyway, I went and spoke to one of the park rangers that's there, and he was trying to tell me about Antietam, and I said, "Well, I don't mean to be rude, but I am with 2 of the best historians in this field, standing right over there. But I'll listen to you anyway." But anyway, he said later on in the afternoon. He said there's a meeting down at at the library in Sharpsburg, and they are unveiling a new book, and half of the authors that have contributed to this book will be in the meeting. And we went, well, we're not turning that down. So we went there 2 p.m. We actually were a little bit late. We got told off actually because it was too noisy coming up the stairs, if you remember rightly. We walked in and it was awesome. But we got a signed copy, didn't we? Went round at one point, our book got lost.
Yeah, they did. We had to
where's my book gone?
Mine's over there. His is over there. It's all over the place. But
the guy behind the book and what's so he does a lot of books about the maps, doesn't he?
He does.
Godfrey, is it Godfrey? I can't remember his first name. Sorry.
Bradley Gottfried. Yep.
Bradley Godfrey, and so he's done many books. One and main ones are called like the maps of Gettysburg, the maps of Antietam, the maps of all that sort of stuff. And but he's put this together, and it's an amazing book. But
now he has the Brigades of Gettysburg too, which I think is
it. Yeah. But each author has got was given a brigade to research and write about, which is pretty awesome, And again, only half of the authors were actually there at the time. But this was hot off the press. Nobody else had this copy apart from us. So yeah, it was a nice thing to be a part of, I must admit.
I was excited for the book earlier in the year when I found out that the Antietam Institute was doing this, and was just, oh, we need to get it. And I just happened to be at Antietam
And
at the greatest time
the most
possible to.
exciting thing is one of the authors, because when they were going around asking the questions, I was going to ask, is there any regulars in there? Because I'm a regular when I reenact. The guy that wrote the regulars got into a conversation with yourself, Tyler, and you told him about, because the next one's about artillery, and he
Right.
he nearly floored you.
He did. So hopefully making a little bit more of a cool story with the Parker's battery stuff, and maybe making a feature in the.
And he got given a card, and he said, "Be in contact with me, and we'll see what we can do." Because they need resources. That's the thing. They put a lot of work into the research they do to put these things together.
Well, for
And
sure.
it's not easy.
It's not.
But yeah, I mean, there's some interesting stuff. Obviously, somebody covers the Irish Brigade, somebody covers, the Iron Brigade, the regulars, all the brigades that are at Antietam, basically, and not just the North, but the South as well.
Right.
And yeah, again, I'm really looking forward to getting into that. But again, it's going to be one of those books that if you want to know something about a particular regiment, then you pick it up. That's probably how I would use it.
And that's exactly what I would recommend when it comes to one of these books. Not that it's not great to just read front to cover. I mean, the book is amazing, but it's more so for you to go through it and, okay, I'm looking for information on this brigade or this regiment, or where were they at Antietam, or what were they doing at South Mountain, along those lines. So it's a reference book. And reference book they're incredible for me. I love references. I mean, you throw them all up my way, I'll take them, because those are how we engage deeper. Yes, you can do a huge tactical book on a battle and talk all about the nitty gritty things that happen in these battles, and who went where and who fought where, and what division did this and what regiment did that. But when you're in a book like Brigades at Antietam, it really helps to just, okay, I want to talk about the Iron Brigade. So you're going to go in there and you're going to research about the Iron Brigade, and you're going to get some good information from that. And it's better to do it that way, because I think it's overload when you go through a book like that and you try to go front to cover, which, again, it can be done. Don't get me wrong. But it's resourceful.
It's not for that, is it? It's for, like you said, it's for the research.
Correct. And it's a darn
brigade.
good sized book, too.
It's very good, yeah.
It's like a textbook. It was worth the price in my mind.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth meeting the people, to be honest with you.
But yeah, it was incredible people that are behind this. But again, like I said, it's a textbook feel to the book, which makes it even more interesting, I think, to study, because you feel like you're picking up a whole high school or collegiate textbook again, and you're going through it. And it's the format's good, the info is good, the notes, the sources for all this is, I mean,
they mentioned, didn't they, that the amount of toing and froing from the editors. They said they had to fit all the stuff they couldn't fit in the editor in the back, because it was just so much, and they were constantly chucking the book back at them, or their chapter, and saying, "Well, you're going to have to take that bit out because it's taking up too much room."
Nick says that I'm still amazed, having read the books, looked at the maps, the scale of these battlefields, standing at Devil's Den, looking at the ground, how those guys advanced and took the den below my mind. And you know what? That's a very appropriate summary.
Again, Nick, we do always say that if you don't stand there, you're never going to understand the battle anyway. If you stand on the ground, you can see it, you can understand it. If you don't, you can't understand it by looking at a book.
You can get the idea, but you're not going to get
the same for me was at Antietam. I honestly thought it would be. I know it sounds silly. I know it's a big battlefield, but when you stand there, it doesn't look like a big battlefield. Do you know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean.
It looks really small, and it's crazy. You see it on a map, you think it's huge, but actually, when you actually stand where Parker's battery was, and you can see literally, I could see the sunken road, you could see the church, and you could see the cornfield, some of the main places, and it looks tiny.
You can see the entire battlefield from up there almost.
Well, yeah.
You said same as Bull Run. Yeah, no, Bull Run's the same way. It's, to me, and I just honestly, as living here my whole life, I should have made more frequent trips to Bull Run, but I haven't, and this is like the last 2
Yeah,
years.
I've never visited Bull Run, never.
Oh, we'll have to change that for sure.
Yeah.
But going out there recently and being able to spend a lot of time at Bull Run have been mind-boggling for me, because I thought this battlefield was so sprawling and just massive battlefield, and it's not. It's not large at all. There's a small area that this concentration of forces meet and clash at, and it changes your whole perception of a battle, especially one like that.
That's one battle we've never covered yet, and I think one day we will cover that one.
Yeah, we should.
It is interesting. The first one of the, everyone thinks the war is going to be over in a month, and then you get the people from Washington coming out and eating a picnic, watching a battle. It's crazy. But then they get mixed up in the melee when the Union Army starts running back to Washington.
Yeah, and
of course that's where Stonewall Jackson is born. So they say the legend is born right there.
That's right,
on that battlefield.
So Nick, what
monument?
What battlefields have you been to, Nick? If you don't mind me asking, I know you mentioned Gettysburg and you mentioned Bull Run. Have you been to any other here in the States? I mean, interesting to see. And I know Darren's been to Gettysburg. We were gonna go this go around, but we decided the time was.
I've got a really good idea. Chuck a link to Nick, and he can come and tell us himself.
Yeah, Nick, do you want to come talk?
That's what we do on the Unfiltered Historian.
We do. We always have links open if anyone wants to chat. That's one of the things we do, especially with Unfiltered Conversations. We love to have you guys on.
Give me a minute. I'm sending it now.
Oh, cool. Well, good. We're going to have an extra guest here.
Yeah.
That's the case. Let me set the settings really quickly. I'm going to take my camera off there, and your camera will still be on.
That one at you, but,
no, you're good. You're good. You are all good.
Cool. And then he could tell us himself, couldn't he? His experience on the battlefields.
That would be awesome.
Right, 1 minute. Got to find the bloody link now. Where is it? There it is. Got it. That's what we do on the Unfiltered. There we go, young man. Press on that and you'll find us.
Let's see if we can't get this working here. Camera's back. All right, cool. We're back on. And he has the link and everything sent to him?
He does.
Cool.
The only thing is, Nick, if you're having problem reaching it from Messenger, sometimes you have to go into your main browser and open your main browser from there, because I've had trouble on my phone before if you're doing it from your phone.
Yeah, we've realized that doing it from the phones sometimes are very hit or miss.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so like I said, remember there was an occasion I spoke to you and Nathan, and I couldn't get through, and it was because when you pressed it from the phone, it wanted you to go to your phone's browser before it would go to. And I just couldn't get through, and eventually I worked it out. But
I just got asked what I'm doing tomorrow afternoon from one of our members, actually.
Going to Antietam, apparently.
I wish.
Man, that was
That's a good thing. I hear a doo-doo. That's what I'm calling those words. Let me see if my mouse will actually want to work here.
There
we go. Nick, welcome aboard, my friend. Doing pretty good. Yourself?
Huh?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Yeah, getting there, man. Getting there. Just cooking burgers, dude.
Cooking burgers?
Yeah, I know. It's far too late, but I need something to eat. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Honestly,
so
there's nothing wrong with the burger at any time of day.
No. There is at about 11:15 at night. But no. Answer your question. What battlefields did I do? So I was really, really lucky. I've been friends with a lass who lives. Oh Jesus Christ! Down by Dulles Airport. Went out to see Shyla, and Shyla she took me all over the shop. So the first one was Bull Run, blew me away. Then we went out to Antietam, then Gettysburg, and then was it towards the end, I said, look, can we go out to Chancellorsville? So she took me out to Chancellorsville, and I went to exactly the same place where you were at, down at the Cedars. So,
Awesome.
for me, it's just the scale. It's the scale. And with regards to like Gettysburg, we spent a day up there, and it was it was January, so we didn't have much daylight. So all I really got saw was the wheat field, Devil's Den, the little top, and it just blew me away. And I could remember standing up, looking at the line of advance for the Confederates coming up to Devil's Den, and just looking over the ground. And I walked down it, and I was just like, no way.
Mm-hmm.
No way. No, not with the march that they had that morning, because and then to come up, lack of water on, what was it, the second most hottest day of that year?
Mm-hmm.
That was.
I don't know whether you know, but a lot of the Georgians, I think, was it Georgian brigades that come up, the Alabamians, wasn't it?
Texas, Alabama, Georgia.
Texas, they had to go up Big Round Top first, and then come down, and then hit the Round Top. So you can imagine that.
15th Alabama, that's and their water. Well, we had the story about their canteens, about the canteen. Let me gather all your canteens and let me take them down to the creek and let's fill them. Well, he gets captured. The one guy that's got all the canteens is captured. So now they're pissed. There's no water. And then you're told, hey, you need to charge up that hill and you need to take that regiment out from there, which is, of course, 20th Maine. We know the story about that. But it boils down to, okay, these Confederates, as successful as they were with getting Big Round Top and securing that part of the battlefield, they didn't have any success with Little Round Top. And we can really attribute that to the stout defense that's given by the 20th Maine, but also the fact that these men are not hydrated. You're exhausted. Yeah, exactly. You don't have the water. You don't have the sustenance to maintain a charge or maintain an attack like this. Of course, it's going to play into your attack and the results thereof.
That's what really amazes me about Jackson's flank march at Chancellorsville.
Oh, yeah.
You're covering 12 miles. And they only had one stop where they could have got water, which was a small stream. You've got the size of his corps moving through. What is it, 5-6 hours to pass one spot? And then he does what he does with his corps. It absolutely amazes me, the strength of these guys in their minds, in their physiology. I know I've served. Doing that sort of march is not pleasant. No. And we were properly hydrated. Those guys in that kit, carrying that weight, phenomenal. And when you think, the Devil's Den blew me away. It blew me away. Like I said, I went down to the bottom into the triangular field. I came back up there, and by the time I got up to the top where I've turned around, the pictures taken of me, I was shattered. I haven't marched 10 miles to get into position to then go and start doing 2 attacks before doing that.
Right. We're just doing the park route and we're tired.
I'm just having a stroll with my brother. You know what I mean? And then those guys are doing it under fire.
Yeah.
And John McFarland on Facebook brought a really good point up. He said AP Hill force marched from Harper's Ferry to Antietam. That's right.
Were hanging out their face.
Yes, they were. And they still held off the 9th Corps from securing the town of Sharpsburg.
Yeah, I did go out to Harper's Ferry as well. I found that rather quaint was
that? I remember now.
12 miles?
12 miles, sorry, yeah.
12, so they about 12 and a half miles.
They got there just in time, didn't they? It's like a Hollywood movie.
That was freaky, actually. I remember going into a cafe in Harper's Ferry. Me and Shiloh walked in there, and there was a couple of locals in there, and they just turned around and looked at us like, "What are you doing, Darren?" Darren, you know it. It's like going to deepest, darkest Somerset over here.
I don't know. I think they're used to it in Harper's Ferry now because it's
No, but you got to remember, this is deepest, darkest January.
But,
You know,
I mean,
not many people-
Tyler was on the way to Antietam. We went the scenic route, and we went through we actually went up in the mountains. You know, it made me feel sick for a little while
on the way back too, especially.
Yeah, and because of the air, you know, it's like thinner. You know, 'cause I'm a fat packer. But yeah, so I went up. But
You're
he
still
was taking
similar to me, mate.
all the little hamlets and all the little villages that are along the way, and it is literally like, you know, like you said, you know.
Yeah, tell me about it. I actually thought I was an extra in Wrong Turn.
Yeah, you do a
You know
chance.
what I was waiting for the banjo duel, you know, to come on, and I was like getting really, really scared, you know.
We had the ear popping experience for him. I think was cool because he was like, "Oh, my ears." I'm like, "Yeah, that's called going up and down a mountain. You change altitude so quick in the Shenandoah Valley."
Really weird.
Yeah.
No, I did fall in love with the Shenandoah.
Oh, everyone does. Yeah, I've done that.
Big time. You know,
it's easy to do.
Huh?
Newmarket is where I went.
That's very easy to do. Is fall in love with those mountains.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to emigrate out there. I really, really would. But I think I'd miss the quaintness of home far too much. Yeah. I can do 2 weeks in the States and love it. Absolutely adore it. But I've done 3 weeks, and that last 3 weeks, that was a few years back. I was like, nah, man, I'm missing it. I need to get back home. But no, I'll tell you what, Virginia especially, I love Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia's beautiful.
I really, really do. Out of all the states that I've been to, Virginia is by far the best.
Yeah.
You know, around that way. I mean, but I found Pennsylvania going up towards, you know, from what is it? It's Frederick, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. From Frederick up to Gettysburg was far too open, man. It was like so, you know.
It's farmland. It's like farmland, isn't it? You know,
there's no fences, Darren.
Yeah, I know. It's just like open, and yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, but it's beautiful. I really like Virginia, like you. You know, I've got a soft spot for it, and Fredericksburg has just blown my mind. You know, it's a great place, amazing place. I mean, it's amazing.
I did like Richmond as well. Going around I went around Hollywood Cemetery. Okay. So I saw the Confederate pyramid. Mm-hmm. That was, you know, that lovely little doggy as well that's on there. It was like a little statue of a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. But no.
So I have to admit, I haven't been to Hollywood yet, and I've lived an hour from it. I still haven't gone.
It's classic.
I want to. You know, I definitely want to. But
isn't it funny how we have these things on our doorstep?
Never go to,
and we don't engage with
them. Yeah, that's right. It's the same as us. You know, look what we've got on our doorstep. You know,
John brings in again Jackson's Valley campaign, March 646 miles,
and he took some scalps.
Yeah, he did. Well, the Fredericksburg March too, from Winchester, Virginia to Fredericksburg, Virginia. That quick, like, it's astronomical how Jackson can march his men like that. We believe it because we've read it so many times, but still,
it is absolutely quite amazing if you think about it. Because I mean, you know, me and Darren, well, not so much Darren anymore because he's chickened out of doing English Civil War reenactment. Bastard boy. But you know, if you were to march 648 miles, you've covered the entirety of England.
Yeah, there you go. Bam. That's the thing, isn't it?
That's like and yet our Civil War armies would march, 60 miles in 48 days?
Yeah, if that.
You know,
that's very true. That's very true.
So if you think about it, it's only a couple of 100 years separation. The sheer logistics of their army was phenomenal.
Mm.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it like that.
That's why the British lost the revolution, because of the vast amount of space. I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
Well, as I explained to Shida, my lovely mate, I said to her, look, it's quite simple. We have tiffin at 11 o'clock. We ain't doing nothing. Tea break.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tea
think about doing something, have tea. Do half an hour's work, tea. You know, so when you start making funny cracks, Darren, at them about drinking coffee, and you're having the tea party and you're going to throw it in the Rappahannock. You need to learn some respect, dude. These guys have got it down. It's us that are wrong.
And
Bloody
they do have
tea
good coffee anyway.
Yeah, our coffee is what keeps us going. See, that's why we don't need tea breaks throughout the day. So we drink one big pot of coffee a day.
He has 2 shots in his coffee.
You're awake. 4.
4. Sorry,
Goes to Starbucks and says, "I'll have like 3 shots in mine."
Yep, that's exactly what I do. I go and get it's either the toasted white mocha in the holiday season or the white mocha with 4 shots of espresso.
Right. Okay. Embarrassing story. My first time in the States. I'm in Virginia Beach. I'm loving it.
Yeah, Virginia Beach is awesome.
Yeah. And you know what? I need a coffee. So my mate's gone into this, he's taken me into this place. It's like a library and it's got a Starbucks. And I'm looking at the menu and I'm like, I can't see anything I recognize. Wow, Frappuccino. That's got to be like a cappuccino, yeah? Yeah, yeah, can I get a large Frappuccino, please? How do you want that? Just as it comes. They start saying, do you want it this? Do you want it that? I don't know. I ain't got a clue. Anyway, so this lovely lass that's serving behind, she gives me this coffee, and it's one of those embarrassing moments in your life when you realise, oh shit, it's got ice. It's December, and I'm drinking iced coffee. What the hell? She must have thought I was mental. Like, you dumb Brit. No wonder why you didn't beat in the revolution. You can't even order coffee.
The redcoats are ordering frappuccino.
Yeah, but that's why you have an American with you to do the ordering for you.
Yeah, well, that's the problem when you're mates with like a US Navy airman. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Bloody git.
See, at least I got you to get the right coffee. I was like, Darren, I got you. I know
what
to order here. I know what you need. I think I have it. But we were wired on the Fredericksburg 150, man. We were 59th because we drank that 4-shot espresso coffee. We were like, oh, let's go to Slaughter Pen.
That's why I nearly had a heart attack. Yeah.
No, it was doing the walks that gave you the heart attack, mate. When you were walking up Antietam, I was like, calm down, Darren, calm down. You can have a heart attack.
I remember that.
I thought, bless him. I know he's like when he does a pike push. He's got to bail out after 2 because he's knackered.
Cheeky bastard.
He showed me some of the pictures of the pike pushes too. Those looked awesome. I would have a lot of fun with that.
Well, you need to, when you come over, you need to like do it in such a time that we can get you to come and have a go.
Definitely, yeah.
Oh, I would have a ball.
Yeah,
it looks physical, like very physical.
Nick, I do miss the physicality of the Silk Knot.
Well,
I do miss it. I like it, and I do miss it. But this just piqued my interest at the moment, and that was that.
Well, do you know what? I can totally understand it. The history of the American Civil War, I find is a lot more. There's a lot more of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as well as I do that our history. There's not much history in comparison. Yeah, you can't get those stories. You can't see those videos, and as well as I do that over here, our Civil War history is not covered.
No, it's not. It's horrendous. It's really bad. And it's only just recently that, there's been a good book that's come out recently called The Atlas of the Civil War.
I've got it on order.
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
I'm going to buy that book myself.
You're going to have to let me know what you guys think of it because Darren talked me into wanting to get it today.
Well, what's going to happen is it's just going to be a rewrite of what's already been written.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only issue, yeah.
It's really, really interesting. It's something that bugs me, and it's what I'm really, really jealous of when it comes to the American Civil War, because you guys over there, you take a real keen interest, the work of the Battlefields Trust, having all those people that come around, and show you the battlefields. Yourself, you've done it, Tyler. I am blown away by that. When you go to our battlefields, we don't even know where they've been fought.
No, it's the truth.
Yeah. Now, you might know this better than me. I asked Darren earlier, when we couldn't figure it out, do you know of a good book on the Battle of Torrington by itself?
Battle of Torrington. Wow, you probably won't even find a book that's been written
No, that's
about
what I said,
That's
yeah.
number 2. That is crazy to me. See, because I think all these battlefields in the American Civil War, we got Antietam books galore, Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, and I'm over here thinking, oh, what am I going to read on Torrington if I just want to read about Torrington?
You're gonna have to.
Well,
You're gonna have to listen
all
to
I
Al.
would say is if you want to know about the Battle of Torrington, right? Darren is your man. He loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then he also loves Big Gay Al. Yeah. So Big Gay
He
Al
told me
lives
that I
down
need
in
to talk
Torrington.
to him about Torrington because he's like the guy to go to.
Oh, he's the
Yeah.
vein of his history teacher
Yeah.
when he brings the cardboard box. And recently, on my video that I did with Al, he has got the fucking pike head from the battle.
Right. He's got a whole
He's got the
pike
what?
head.
He's got a pike head from the battle that he got
Holy
gifted.
fuck.
Yeah, he showed me it the other week. He's still got the wood inside.
Yeah.
No puns intended.
I was gonna say, you sure it's not his wood that's inside it?
Yeah.
You know.
But,
Oh shit.
yeah.
Francis Heron, 120 miles in
I mean, Nick,
4
you've been to
days.
Torrington,
haven't you? A few times.
I've been
And,
to Torrington, yeah.
I mean, tell Tyler what it's like drinking in that same pub that was standing there.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
How cool is that? That is pretty cool.
Tyler, can you drink?
Oh, we can drink. He drunk me under the table a few times last week.
Yeah,
And look-
sorry. I've tried American drink. It's gnat's piss. Sorry, any Americans there that love your alcohol. It's
Thankfully,
nothing
I'm drinking
to-
import. I'm drinking from Ireland right now,
To
actually.
be honest, Nick,
good, man.
most
Schmittix,
recently
man, yeah.
they've started having a lot of microbreweries, and it's got better.
We have. So we've had the
They are
beer
brewing some good-
revolution,
good
if you
beer.
will. And yeah, we're brewing like
Yeah, they are
Good
brewing some
stuff.
good stuff now.
one of my favorite beers is like 9.1%.
So we went to a place called
Woo!
Strange Ways
Yeah,
Brewery,
they
and
got-
believe me, they've got some stuff in there.
Have they?
Mind you, the Lucky Charms one, I was a bit apprehensive about because I said if I was in the UK, I'd have got beaten up if I'd ordered that.
Grab a pint of Lucky Charms.
Well, yeah, you get Lucky Charms at the top as well, don't you?
And they were like,
Well-
all the Marines get this, and the guys come up from the military bases and drink this. He's like, all right, fine, I'll have it.
Oh, I'll have it then. $13
Well,
a pint.
It was hilarious when I went out there to Virginia Beach. Sorry, it's going off kilter. That was
You were here for
2003. It was 2003. I just left the army and I was meeting up with the lads that I knew, and they had one of their young guys, one of their sailors, start giving it the big one about, yeah, I've heard about you Brits. I can drink you under the table. It's like, right, okay.
Those are the
So-
ones you have to worry about because they really can't.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just want to talk. They're, I didn't
Yeah.
tell Darren I'm going to outdrink you, bud. I just showed him, like, hey, by the way, boop.
Well,
He's like,
anyone
See
can
how
outdrink
skinny
Darren.
he is.
Darren gets pissed on 2 pints of Chandy.
Yeah.
So, what was it? It was Todd. Todd lives now up in Michigan. We went to this like fresh store. I forgot the name of it. And we bought some imported Stella, Warsteiner, and Absolute vodka. And this guy was matching me can for can on the Stella. I was really quite impressed. And then we got onto the Warsteiner, and I said to Matt and Todd, I was like, guys, geez, I'm gonna have to pull out the big guns now. Let's get the vodka on. Got the vodka on. He finally went, but I was a bit scared. But no, drinking in Torrington, you're gonna love it, Tyler.
I can't
Come
wait.
out. You will love it. You really, really will. The warm beer. It's not warm. It's just cellar temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great drinking on the Ark Royal with, ooh, look at that. So John is
Dark Royal.
Kojak. If you ever look at him on Twitch, that's his name here. But John is one of our
Oh, with Wrens.
founder. Yeah.
Oh, John's lucky if he's been drinking with Wrens. Whoa.
So I'm a little ignorant here. Do you guys want to explain to me what Wrens is?
Well, they're not. They don't exist anymore. But it's the girls. So it's the female Navy types, female Matlows.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't. No, I think no. I think Wrens has been abolished now. They're just called sailors.
In the 70s. That's
They
before
don't want
my
to
time.
upset people, do they?
In the 70s, yeah, definitely Wrens. Bless their cotton, jammy son. Were they good looking?
Oh, I'm sure.
Or were they good looking after 10 points?
Well,
They
like
morph
some of the
after
girls in the
10,
beer
you know?
tent after 10 pints.
I'll tell you what, that's what you need to do. Arrange Tyler to come out for ABH.
We will.
That would be
Because
awesome.
guess where ABH is this year?
Yeah, it's at Naseby, isn't it? Yeah.
No,
Is it not?
Edge Hill.
Oh, it's Edge Hill. Sorry, of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Edge Hill.
you were supposed to do the wasn't it the 100? Was it 370th or something?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the 370 at Naseby, but obviously COVID.
Then the pandemic hit. You know the way it does.
They fought better than they drank.
Yeah, that's about right.
You know, one of these days, I think we should do a beer history or like just a drink history through the Civil War. Like, let's find all these cool stories and drinking stories from the Civil War, and let's just go live about it. That would.
Well,
there's a book called Muskets and Applejack that
I mean, drinking in the UK was well in most places was because the water was so fucking horrendous.
Right. I try to tell people
they would have
if I go to
beer,
England,
you know, and
I'm only drinking beer because I've heard stories about y'all's water system, and I heard that it's safer to drink the beer.
Well, people were shitting in the Thames, you know.
You ain't shitting in my beer, so that works. Like,
I mean, have you ever heard of the Big Stink?
No.
I mean, they had to build sewers under London because it was horrendous. It was called the Big Stink, and a guy called Bazalgette basically put the sewers underneath London, you know, to get rid of all the shit out of the Thames, basically. But even the politicians wouldn't go to London because it smelt that bad.
Really?
All I can say, Darren, is I feel the need for mead.
There you go, the need for mead.
We just had a meadery open up in Fredericksburg, actually, called Haley's Honey Meadery, where they're making mead here and selling it. And I haven't been yet.
Mead's very popular in the UK at the moment, big time.
That's what I've heard.
Any reenactment I've been to this year, there's been two or three mead stalls.
And our chief historian, Tim, says that I need to drink mead out of an old horn, not out of a glass.
There you go. You could be a Viking.
Exactly. He said it tastes the greatest out of a horn. So I'm going to have to get me a horn and get me a bottle of mead.
Oh, it's all right. I will get you a horn. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Well, I think Big Gay Al would get him a horn.
Speaking of, I saw his gypsy wagons that he's been making.
Oh, yes. Very talented man.
Good Lord, does that take some talent?
Oh, yeah. From scratch as well. He gets.
I can't even draw a stick figure, and this guy's over here creating whole entire gypsy wagons. Like,
he's probably one of the most talented people you're ever going to meet in the world.
Is there a pun behind that one too?
No, probably.
Yeah, probably. It's Darren.
And the main thing is he lives literally where the royalists run away. Literally in the spot.
Yeah, which is kind of apt because you would spend half your time running away from him.
And the bridge is 1269.
Is it?
It is. That bridge down there is 1269.
But I'll tell you what. I was going to say,
as well as musket balls.
I was just going to say, if Tyler wants to read up about Torrington, I'll start looking through JSTOR to see if there's an article.
Yeah, if you find anything, let me know because I would love. I really actually have this urge to start looking at Torrington in particular because on the way home from Antietam, I wanted to know about this. So Darren played the podcast that he had done on American Civil War UK history, and it was phenomenal. I was like, whoa. Okay, I want to know more about this, like the powder explosion.
Al is the history of Torrington. He's he knows it more than anybody. Mm-hmm. There is other people, don't get me wrong, but they used to have a visitors centre there called 1646.
Yeah, that our mate used to work at, didn't he?
Yeah, so Dave Gibbons used to work there. In actual fact, Dave, during the march, he actually does live in history there for the last few years.
Okay,
have we got the march this year?
Well, at the moment, I don't know, but I hope so. But if not, I'm still going to go down there anyway. And
I'll go down there as well.
We're going to do some live streams or probably pre-record of the Battle of Torrington as it happens, So we're going to go to the spot where the barricade would have been. We're going to go to the church. We're going to go, and Al's going to do the whole thing. We're going to do the bridge, the retreat over the bridge, everything. The signal's a bit dodgy down there in North Devon, so I don't think live is going to work. But
It's
You
bad
can-
at
you just
Antietam
get
too.
one
We found
bar.
that out.
It's
What,
it's in the middle of nowhere, Tyler, mate. I promise you.
Yeah, another one, Tyler, that you might be interested in is the Lost Whitfield campaign.
The Lost Whitfield campaign.
Lost Whitfield. I'll have to type it to you and send it to you.
Yeah, if you don't have me as a friend on Facebook, send me a request. Let's
yeah,
start messaging back
I
and
will
forth.
do.
Cool.
I will do. Because Lost Whitfield was. So you got Parliament going down into that neck of the woods, Devon, Cornwall, Somerset. Yeah, under the Earl of Essex. And all of a sudden, parliamentarians get cornered down there.
Mhm.
And our main man, Sergeant Major General Philip Skippon, gets cornered. Earl of Essex buggers off. And because Skippon is so highly regarded, he is allowed to leave the area. The Royalist forces allow him to go. So as he's going, he gets going en route back to London because he was in charge of the London train bands. He's pillaged. His troops are attacked by all the locals. They lose the colours. Big no-no, as you know.
Yeah.
Lose half all their clothing. They're attacked left, right, and centre. It's quite breathtaking. And then Philip Skippon comes back. He's such a character, proud to be a part of the regiment. But
Yeah.
Philip Skippon was shot at Naseby. It went in and out through his chest. And he still did not leave the field.
And that's one thing about Naseby is the Skippon regiment are at in the meat grinder at Naseby, aren't they? They are literally in the meat grinder.
Yeah.
Darren, I just realized I've got notified that I'm going to be going on a dig tomorrow.
Oh, you lucky son.
So is Daryl taking you?
Nice. That's what we were just corresponding about. He said 2 to 4:30. I said perfect because 4:30. I got to be on live by like 4:45, 5 o'clock to come on the panel. So maybe I could bring a bullet and show like, look what we found today.
Yeah.
Now it's a disclaimer too, because I know a lot of people get up in arms about this. This is all on private property. We're not doing anything on any park ground or the big thing like that. We're just. I've always wanted to have the experience of going out on ground like this and being able to find something from the war and preserve it. And I've done that before. The few pieces I've had, but to go out there and actually hold a piece of history that was last touched by a soldier from the war, and then to be able to hold that out of the ground and recover that.
You've seriously got to come over for August.
Oh yeah.
No, you really, really do. Because if you come to Edge Hill, we could take them down to Radway Church and you can see the bullets, the balls, the musket balls down there. And,
Are they still all over the place?
Oh, yeah. They're there.
Yeah, you find them everywhere, mate. Yeah. There was so many.
They're there.
Again, I mean, Nick, so because you've experienced this as well, and I've tried to explain it to people, and it's better when you've got someone with you that understands it as well. So you've done the march into the military ground, haven't you?
Yeah.
Into the military complex.
Yeah.
How eerie is that fucking place? It really, I found it really eerie. Not only that, the fact that you get followed by a drone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is one of the main arms dumps for the British military.
Right.
The Royal Navy.
Because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So, there is a hell of a lot of ordnance in there.
Yeah.
So
it's all underground.
The risk of you going totally offy is they're not going to take it.
Yeah. Again, there's a monument in there, isn't there? To
So the monument is an exact replica of what's out on the main road.
Right.
So, what you've got as you come into the compound and you're walking through there, and it's a big site. You can see it on Google Earth.
Yeah, you can. It's huge.
Well, it's not huge to Tyler. It'd be quite.
No, of course not.
It's big to us. But you come up through Coppice Wood, and where the monument is, Tyler, is right on the crunch line.
Really?
Yeah, it's where they're really having to go at one another. And that wood hasn't been touched.
Mm.
Right, so they built it in the 30s, well, in the 1940s, as a central arms dump for the World War II.
Okay.
And as they were excavating, lots of things were found, and I mean lots. But they didn't touch this wood because it is actually marked as a grave site. Now, the crazy thing is, as you're walking past there are no birds in that wood.
You were telling me about that, Darren.
Yeah.
There is there are no birds in there. The birds, you can see them flying around, yeah, and then they bugger off. They do not go in there. And when you're standing up there listening to the sky pilot, the Padre, saying his piece, you know, God save the Queen, you know, blah blah blah. It is a very, very strange thing because we're up there in kit, you know, we're pretending to be those guys, and I challenge anyone who says they don't believe to go there and feel it, because you can feel it. There is a difference.
It is very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt it when I walked in the site personally.
Well, you've got to remember,
energy there, you know.
Yeah, where we park to start the march, that's one of the lines of charge for the Royalist cavalry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying
as
to find it on Google Maps so I can send it to.
Yeah.
To
as you're walking it, you are in the midst of where the fight happened.
Yeah.
You know, the scale of Edge Hill is big. You know, I'm not talking Gettysburg size. It's probably
it's quite small compared to
but you're talking 15,000 troops v 15,000 troops around about.
Just to give you a context of it, so it's the first battle of the Civil War. The two armies.
It's the first.
There's skirmishes, isn't there?
So there's two skirmishes that happened before.
Yeah.
You've got Salvin, Powick. Yeah. So, well, no, Powick's first, then Salvin, then Edge Hill. So Powick is Worcester, which coincidentally is where the last battle of the Civil War's fought. Literally on the same ground.
Yeah.
You know, it's absolutely crazy. Then you get a small engagement at Salvin, which is only about 7-8 miles from Edge Hill. And then Edge Hill, the two armies go at it.
They go at it.
Yeah. And it was an extremely close run thing.
It was they called it a draw, didn't they?
Well, it was more of a strategic victory to the crown, because you think about it, Charles wants to go to London. He's not opposed now. You know, he's got a free run through. So there's a few more skirmishes on the way down, but then the next big battle happens at Turnham Green, which is London. So none of that battlefield exists anymore. That's all built on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Edge Hill, there's something very, very spooky about Edge Hill, Tyler.
I can believe it. It sounds to me that way.
And I get the same feeling at Edge Hill as I did at Gettysburg.
Yeah, I got that feeling too. Yeah, at Culp's Hill.
Didn't go to
there again. I didn't like it.
Didn't go to Culp's Hill. The way that I see Gettysburg, I need a week at Gettysburg.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
you really do. That's absolutely affirmative. You do.
Yeah, you can't do Gettysburg in a day. No chance.
Well, you don't have these battlefields yet. No, sir. Because there's still, and I've gone to Antietam so many times, but I still have yet to walk the end assault land, where Burnside goes up the hills and those valleys and makes it into the proper town of Sharpsburg. I haven't done that yet because I'm always focused on that portion of the battlefield, and Burnside Bridge is like the last place I end up at.
One of the worst accounts from Edge Hill is that they were obviously, because it was cold at night, their wounds froze and they laid there suffering and not dying because their wounds had frozen, you know.
So 1642, it's still quite cold. The Civil War
end of October.
Yeah. I think the climate activists would be going apeshit if they realised how cold it was in the 1640s.
Yeah.
But having said that, the actual day of the battle's quite relatively warm.
Mm-hmm.
So our warm, anything above 16 degrees, Tyler, is warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking C, not Fahrenheit here.
Yeah.
But October at night is bitterly cold. Yeah, it is cold. So these guys are out there in their cotton shirts, in their woolen jackets. They've been sweating. They fought a battle. And now as the temperature starts coming down, because the two armies start disengaging as night draws in. Yeah, they're now lying down on the grass. All that sweat is now going to start turning to ice. Yeah, and these guys are still alive the following morning.
That's like the story of Angel's Glow that takes place at Shiloh that Meg Rowling writes about in The Aftermath of Battle, which is a fantastic. And Darren, I think you said you had that on audiobook.
I do, yeah. I'm going
to bioluminescence is a bacteria that glows blue. And a lot of these troops, being that they're surrounded by, around Pittsburgh Landing where the Tennessee River is just flowing, and there's a lot of swampy marshlands around the area, there's this phenomenon of men's wounds glowing blue at night. And they're, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, shit, I don't want to see that. It's like some ghost. Have you ever seen Doctor Who? I'm actually a huge Doctor Who fan. There was an episode where these coffins were filled with the corpses, and all of a sudden their eyes turn blue and they start bolting up and running around London. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? It's terrifying. But when I see that episode, it makes me immediately think back to Angel's Glow. I'm like, oh, it's like bioluminescence, but these guys are getting completely
that's what happens over. That happens to me every single time I go to London. My eyes turn blue, and that's it. I'm off running around. Get me out of here.
I honestly, that was one of the scariest things I think I've ever seen, was that episode of Doctor. It was the first season of Doctor Who too, the original Rose Tyler, and I was like, I am not watching this ever again because these blue-eyed zombies running around London. No, I swear. But I read the Angel's Glow account, and I was like, holy shit. This is real.
Well, I've never heard of that account, so I'll have to read up on that. But
yeah, check it out for sure. Angel's Glow is a great chapter of the book. I think there's a whole chapter dedicated to it. High class drinking at Harry's in Venice, and Edgefield was bitterly cold. You're going over to the CW Breakfast Club? All right, go enjoy. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit.
Yeah, see you soon.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
But I'll be right back, gents. I'm gonna go refill my beer because I'm like on the last sip, and I'm like, I need another one. I'll be right back, gentlemen.
They said.
I got the Schmittix too. At least it's a good one.
Yeah, what we'll have to do, Darren, is we'll have to chip in to get Tyler over here for August, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they're going to come over anyway. Hopefully, we are planning something. So,
good.
But as far as the Sealed Knot's concerned this year, you understand you've got one at Basing House in May this year.
Yeah, so Basing's going to be a major.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go to that.
Are you?
I think I probably will. Yeah.
Really?
Basing's got a special place in my heart,
And it's close to you.
And it's close. It's only an hour and a half's drive. But I've done literally probably 16 events at Basing over the years, or probably less than that. So probably about 14. But
have you seen Pip? Have you seen Pip?
No, I haven't. But he's with Vicky and Dougal at the moment in Norfolk, so he's okay. But he's not been great.
No, he weren't good at Edge Hill, mate.
He won't be fighting anymore. That's for sure. Definitely not.
Nah, Pip can't do it anymore, mate.
No, he's turned into an old man.
I've turned into an old man.
Well, he had a bit. He had a few accidents at Edge Hill.
Yeah, I expect he did, mate.
But Basing House is going to be a good one this year. That's going to be a full 2,000-3,000 complement. Edge Hill at August is going to be absolutely awesome, and we're going to have the AC/DC tribute band as well.
Awesome! Yeah, they were good. They were very
so
good.
That's going to be.
Y'all had an ECW. Wow, I want to ECW. AC/DC tribute band.
Oh, and they're brilliant. I call in the lead singer of this band. He actually looks like the Mexican version of Bon Scott. So we call him the Mexican Bon Scott. So I actually said this to him. I said, look, mate, I play bass, yeah. Next time you play, can I get up on stage with you? Because I really want to say that I played with the Mexican Bon Scott. He looked at me as like he was going to kill me or something. You know what I mean? I was like, calm down. Take a Xanax. Chill out. But nah,
I love it.
you would love it. You would love it. Make sure it coincides, especially with a big one, because you'd love ABH.
I'm gonna have to do that.
It is good fun. I will say that it is great. Yeah.
So Darren, should I show my non-Antietam related reading material right now?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So one of the things I'm really excited to.
Oh yeah, this is a new one. This is going to be good,
this
man.
This is a new one. Chris Mikowski. Some of you may have heard of him. Whether I don't know if you have or not, but of course you all have heard of Chris Mikowski.
Well, you saw it. Did you not see our video with Chris Mikowski under the cedar trees?
Yeah. Oh, you talking about it, Nick?
So he runs Emergency Civil War.
Yeah, just
yeah.
He wrote.
I think I've come across him on YouTube.
Yeah, you will do. Yeah.
The 14 critical decisions that defined the battle, and I've been quite a fan of this series. Specifically, the decisions at Gettysburg is also a really good one. I've got that on hand. Mm-hmm. Decisions at Wilderness and Spotsylvania. Yeah. Chris's book is I'm excited for. His is promising.
He's a very good writer.
Yeah, I agree.
So Nick, if you want to get something on the Civil War, definitely buy something from Chris Mikowski because he's a very good writer.
Cool. No, yeah, I just get all my Civil War knowledge from Gods and Generals, man.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'll look into that. I'm reading a good book. At the moment. Cromwell, Our Chief of Men.
That has become more part of my vocabulary than I thought it would ever be.
What was that?
Ron Hatton's new Cromwell book.
Oh, I do not like Ron Hatton.
Oh, fair enough.
No. Oh, boys, my phone's gone down to 5%, so I'm going to say good night now.
Cheers, Nick. Well, hey, thank you for joining tonight. Please do. I look forward to some conversations with you.
And send my love to the Skippens because I still love them, and I still want to come get crushed at some point. So
we'll crush you, mate. We'll crush you. Don't you worry about that.
But honestly, mate, it was great having you on, mate.
Cheers. It was. Yeah, you're welcome back anytime. You see us live, just give us a shout, and we'll work something out and get you up here, man.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one. Take care.
You too. Bye, bud. All right, Darren. That was awesome. Well, see, that's what I love about the Unfiltered historian, man. We could just be on talking about something, and then boom, huge tangent on something else.
You got to learn about the English Civil War tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
You did. That was
Nick's
great.
more knowledgeable about it than me, anyway. That's for sure.
He was very knowledgeable. I'm always glad to have folks on here that wants to share their passion and talk about history.
It's been great. Don't forget tomorrow night, guys. We have got 8 great historians.
That's right.
All in one place, all at the one time. And the way it's going to work tomorrow is going to be, I'm going to ask about 3 or 4 questions to everybody. It's going to go round the circle. It's going to be like an AA meeting for historians. Okay. It's going to go round the circle. And depending on how, you won't have long to, you'll have long enough to answer the question. But obviously, if you go over a certain amount of time, we won't set a dead time. Then obviously, you'll get a strike against you. But I will be scoring the answers, so they better be pretty good ones. And you don't know what the questions are, but they're very easy.
I don't know the questions either. I'm excited to find out what they are, though.
Well, they're just general, finding out why you like the city, just stuff like that, Do you know what I mean? But it depends on your answer. If your answer is good, you'll get a good score. I'm going to be scoring everybody's answer out of 10 each.
Are you going to get us little scorecards too, so we know what we're like?
Yeah, I'm going to have a little scorecard in front of me.
All right, cool.
I thought that would be a little bit of fun. And then we've got a real treat at the end of it because Big Al will be playing us out with the Battle of Torrington song. But he will also be explaining the Battle of Torrington along the way.
I'm excited because I really don't know much about it, and I'm trying to find information on it. There's not much out there. So
there isn't. Literally, the historians of Torrington have written the history of it. That is it. Again, I've learned off of them. That's how I know about it. And what Al has been doing lately is he's been before COVID. Obviously, he was taking people around on a little tour of the town centre, and taking them around to the church and showing them all this stuff, you know. Obviously that stopped. And again, the reason we did that video beginning of the year was because I couldn't go there, you know, but I will be going there. But it is interesting. It is very interesting. And it can be a little bit spooky at night as well.
I can imagine. But I look forward to this. Like, you're making me realize that my UK trip is going to probably be a lot sooner than I planned it.
Oh, I don't think I'm going to, unfortunately, going to be able to do August bank holiday because I might be in America, in Florida.
Ooh, in Florida.
We will organise something so that you can experience something.
Okay. I didn't know you're going to be in Florida for
But,
that.
you know, again, it won't be the last and it won't be the first, you know, so there will be other opportunities.
That's right.
But hopefully if we can get Chris and Terry over as well, I have got some good stuff planned for you. You're going to like it. I mean, Terry will definitely like the war tunnels in London.
That's exciting too.
Churchill has war tunnels, and I've never been there myself. So
really, so it'd be a new experience for all
down
of us
there,
around,
and that's literally a walk stone's throw from where we do the round table stuff. You can walk. The thing is, London's a walking city. You know, you get on the tube, you go in, you walk. You know, you don't drive in London. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's the same as Washington, but Brian managed to do it in Washington. I don't know how he did it. It was a nightmare, but he managed it.
Thank you. Yeah, well, a lot of people that have been there for a while know how to navigate Washington.
Yeah, well, he lives in North Washington. He sort of lives on the outskirts of, just north of Washington. So, but that experience was a very good day, I must admit. He was brilliant, you know. Brian's a very good historian, you know, and he knows his stuff. And I was really impressed with Fort Foot.
Yeah.
Although there's not really much there, really, but those guns are massive. I got him to stand under it. I said, Brian, how tall are you? He went 6 foot, and he can't even touch it. It's ridiculous.
Well, I'd love to see him. And I've worked in Washington for 3.5 years at the Capitol building. I never made it over to any of the forts.
And what's really cool
saddens me, but
you can stand on the banks of the Potomac, and you can look up to Washington, and before that, obviously Alexandria. It's really cool, actually. And Alexandria, wow, what a place! I mean, it's like a town that's been preserved in time. I mean, they've got, most of the buildings are Georgian, you know, from that time period, you know, and it's so cool.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, Darren, do you have anything else you want to finish?
Not really. I did want to bring in about what I bought today. Sorry. So I did buy a nice little book about letters from the trenches.
You did, yeah.
At some point, I want to touch on World War One, and that got me on because obviously then I told Tyler about my great uncle who fought in World War One, and these are his medals in this tin. And so I wanted to bring that up. And also I bought this other nice little book called Battles in Britain, which is awesome. So this has literally got any important battles that took place on British soil. So when I need to know something, I can just open this book up and here we go. But that's about all I've got to add, mate. And I've really enjoyed our little, spare of the moment show tonight. And
and it went completely in the unfiltered, unpredicted direction. But that's what we love about this thing, man. It can do that. We have the availability and the means to talk about so many different aspects in history. And it's all about you guys too. You know, this isn't just a random thing that just started. If y'all ever want to talk with us while we're on these unfiltered conversations, that's what these episodes are specifically for. They're for us to just talk history, talk shit to each other, because Darren and I don't do enough of that. And, you know, it's a time for us to come together as a history community and be able to share our passion and talk and really just have a place to be.
And it was great to have Nick come on and share his passion for it as well, you know. I've known Nick a little while now, and I didn't know he was that passionate about the American Civil War. So now when I see him at an English Civil War reenactment event, we probably won't stop talking.
Probably not. That's probably over with.
You know, so that was cool. So thanks for coming on, Nick. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Nick, thanks. And I appreciate your friendship and sending me something.
And you are the Unfiltered Historian's top fan, so you get the badge.
We got to actually make some badges just as like a joke. So I don't think like all these Facebook pages have these top follower badges. Like, what if we had a shop that actually had a badge? We should have our own one. Yeah. That'd be great.
I like that.
I do too. Well, Darren.
Anyway, yeah, so that's all I've got to say, mate, today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night.
Likewise, guys. Tomorrow night it will be up on the American Civil War and UK history. Give it a check, give it a watch, give it a like. Subscribe on both YouTubes, Unfiltered Historian and American Civil War and UK history. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. Darren's even on Twitter.
We are on Twitter.
There you go. I'm not on Twitter. Darren is. You can go follow Darren on Twitter.
And most of the stuff that I post on Unfiltered Historian Facebook gets put onto Twitter. So
We're all over the place. Just look us up. Twitch too. We're on Twitch.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, Darren. Well, I will see you tomorrow.
You will.
I look forward to it, man.
See you
Take
soon.
care. Yes, sir.